He said, "Don't you know? You're in the seventh heaven, where souls are born and leave here. To enter every person that is born on earth." "Are the eggs we saw souls?" Dan asked. "No, they are the young guardian angels, wonderful beings sent down to protect and help those on earth." He climbed over the railings of the churchyard, full of the graves of sailors. And even pirates. He was now in the open. I didn't need to invite him inside a building. He hesitated. And stood up, his red eyes focused on me. For the first time I saw that he never wished to be what he was, a curse to humankind, not loved by anyone or even God. The whole hut was full of various kinds of vegetation, water covered the floor. And plants had formed intertwined platforms of vegetation throughout. On each of these platforms, I could see something writhing. I thought, snakes, I had better get out of here. Not much chance of finding my toes in this entanglement. But the crying was there, and snakes don't cry. I leant over and saw that each platform had small nests containing a baby. 8 babies in all. They shone their torches inside the cave. And drew back suddenly, as the beam caught the reflection of a huge silvery eye. At least 20 winged termite people were huddled together at the back. Their eyes had expanded to cover each side of the face. And their arms had been incorporated into huge struts feeding into the veined wing-like structures. The tail of the rat, as with other hairless tails, may act as heat exchange organs where more blood can dilate the blood vessel in the tail, so it loses heat. Many animals have bushy tails which can help them to keep warm, especially during the winter or hibernation. The tail often covers their nose to prevent heat loss. We prefer rocky outcrops and cliffs, but also stay around lakes and some rural habitats. We have, though, modified our behavior for an urban environment where many of us are permanent residents now. I asked where they were being taken. And the driver said Brussels. Some soldiers were in ambulances. Covered wagons with a rear door opening. These were commonly used to take the wounded from the battlefield. I peered inside. And saw there was someone I knew. I went up to him. And said my name, but he did not recognize me. Her husband was waiting outside the plaster room in the hospital. He took Leo to one side. "Can I have a private word?" he said. "Did you promise to plaster my wife?" "No, I made no promise," he said. I thought she was joking. "But she wasn't," said the husband. "She put this money aside for you," and he showed him £500 in notes. "It's cheaper than a funeral, much cheaper, and I would have her with me still." After a year, there was no sign of growth for the tiny oyster. He thought he was never going to grow, never to produce young, and enjoy the full benefits from being in the oyster bed. He grew very sad, and every day opened his shell only slightly to feed and get the oxygen in the water surrounding him. Winter came. And so did spring and summer. But still he remained tiny, hidden between the others, which were growing taller and wider.